Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. We're on each and every week, and we talk about local and national, state, and county issues that affect property values here in Las Vegas. Some of the things that have been affecting the market lately have been the availability of housing, the availability of funds, and everything else in the middle that's in flux. We try to hit upon issues that affect your decisions, whether you're going to buy, whether you're going to sell a house, or whether you're just looking around for an investment property that might help you decide whether you want to get into the real estate market, whether you want to get out of the real estate market. These are the things that affect you here, and each and every week on the show, we try to bring some terrific guests to you, which can educate you as to what's going on in the marketplace. This week, Ron Mendocino is going to come on and talk about commercial real estate here in the Valley and the lack thereof, and some of the opportunities that might be available for you in the marketplace. Before we get to our terrific interview, and of course, we have our panel each and every week that comes on and discusses the issues of the show, as well as some of the things that I found interesting, and as well as they do in terms of what's happening here in the Valley, in the surrounding area, Nevada at large. We're in a very strange market in terms of what's going on financially, and so that affects obviously mortgage rates here in town. I also wanted to talk a little bit about technology, what's going on with that, healthcare, what's going on with that, how that will affect your financial decisions now and into the future. Las Vegas obviously has an aging population, as well as a lot of new millennials that come into the marketplace. So if you're out there right now and you're looking for some answers as to how you can take what you have invested in something which may give you long-term returns, this is the show for you, and I really appreciate you tuning in this week. The focus of what you are going to do in your real estate world is what we do here on the show. What we try to bring you each and every week is the right people for the right advice at the right time. And anyway, I appreciate you all tuning in today. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry, and also your Las Vegas Real Estate Show, and we'll be right back.
Are you experiencing hair loss? We have the solution with no drugs, no surgery, and no side effects. Experience 100% pain-free results with SuperGrow Laser Cap System, featuring 272 professional-grade lasers that make your hair thicker and fuller naturally. Use it 15 minutes a day, 3 times a week, and notice your hair growth in as little as 3 months. Visit online at irevivelaser.com to order your SuperGrow Laser Cap today and experience unbelievable results. irevivelaser.com.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising, and according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jeff Barton, and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. Each and every week we are on, and I appreciate you tuning in to watch what we're doing. And what are we doing? We're trying to explain what's going on here in the Valley in terms of the real estate market. Ups and downs being what they are nationally, both in the economy and the employment sector. The availability of housing currently in the Las Vegas market is rough, and anybody out there who is looking for properties understands that. But there's a whole section of real estate that happens right here in Las Vegas and in the Las Vegas Valley that'll really twist your noodle. What is that? It's commercial properties, what you can do about trying to get into the sector, what's available, what's really controlling it, and I'm happy once again to bring to the show, he's been on the radio show many times, Ron Mendocino of Mendocino Commercial. And how are you, Ron?
Wonderful this morning, thank you.
And thank you very much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, very good. A little bit about your background. I know you've been in commercial for many years here in Las Vegas. Can you just explain so people understand where you are and how long you've been doing the business?
You bet, up to 37 years, all commercial,
Right.
in Las Vegas. And I've seen some changes.
Right.
There's no question about that. I instruct continuing education classes and so forth, so
Well, that's how we met.
yep,
I mean, I was in
exactly.
a real estate class with you, and you were
Absolutely.
not only entertaining, but also really explained a lot about what was going on in commercial. And so, as I remember, I was trying to dig up your phone number, find out where you are, and try to track you down. I think I stalked you for a while. I apologize about that.
it's great.
No, but I really appreciate it because there's very few people that can really understand the commercial market historically, what's available. Tell us about what's happening right now. What's something that is, I guess, driving the market, or is it lack of inventory, or what is it exactly?
Well, needless to say, we do a lot of business from California investors.
Of course.
And companies, of course, they like to come to Las Vegas. I think the biggest misperception as far as commercial goes is it's a smaller market than people realize. Because of the hotels, the excitement, it's known all over the world, everyone figures it's a big market, but we're in a valley and we have actually kind of limited land and limited space.
Right.
There's a lot of activity right now. The land values dropped tremendously when we had that crash.
Right.
And they've slowly crept up, except the commercial land has just gone nuts. Now, for example, for home builders, one home builder 3 months ago spent $35 million on vacant land
And
for residential, and another one 2 months ago spent $25 million on large pieces of land for residential.
Now, when you're talking about large pieces of land, now obviously these are big numbers, right? 35 million, 25 million respectively.
Absolutely.
And what are you talking acreage-wise? 100 acres, 50 acres, 10 acres? How much?
They're pretty much unable to find that 100 acres anymore.
Right,
That
exactly.
really doesn't exist. Most of it comes through BLM or
Okay.
people who invested and lost the property because the value dropped.
Right.
Some of it dropped as much as 90%. So
Wow, that's huge.
that led to that's why some were at auction,
I see.
for example. But we're speaking about they're assembling several parcels, trying to get enough for a housing development.
And how close is this to where we currently are in Las Vegas? Is it near Las Vegas Center? Is it more in the outskirts? Is
If
it
you were
south?
if you were sitting right in the geographical center of town, it really only goes 20 to 25 miles each direction.
Right.
So these are outlined on the outer edges, and the beltway that's gone around town has led to that.
Right, exactly.
As a matter of fact, that has what has really crushed the commercial department, because the main office buildings and retail locations were in the center of town, and they're no longer there. Everybody moved out to where the freeway goes around the edges of town, leaving the best streets for office space and so forth in the middle where nobody wants to be.
Is that because of the traffic? Is that because of it's just difficult to get around?
Absolutely. Being near a freeway is best.
Right.
And of course, people in their office space, they tend to want to have their office near their home.
Of course.
And of course, now they've moved out to the edges, so being near a freeway and out on the edges is significant. So we have a dichotomy. If you'd like to go into a really nice office space out in the suburbs near the freeway, you're going to pay around $3 to $3.50 a square foot.
Right.
If you'd like to come to the center of town, even near the airport, certainly not next to the strip, but you're going to get 75 cents or 80 cents a foot.
Right.
That's a lot different than $3 or $4 a foot.
Absolutely right.
So the people that have owned in the center of town, they would like to sell their product, but nobody wants to buy it.
I have this friend in New York City who's telling me the exact same things going on there, is that the center of the city where office buildings were forever, because they've developed the west side and the east side down by the river, Battery Park, and those areas have reclaimed from the river, all of the offices moved out to the extremities, leaving a huge gap in the middle of empty office space.
Absolutely. On the other hand, the warehouse market, and we have three segments primarily, actually four. Multifamily, which is apartments, they have been flipping and they've gone up in value. The rent structure is in really small units in the center of town, which are kind of rough neighborhoods. and older product, they're available for $500 or $600 a month. But your better apartments start at about $1,000 a month, and that's for 900 square feet.
And that's a single bedroom? One bedroom?
2 bedroom typically.
Okay,
all the new ones being built, but about
Okay.
900 square feet. And then you're going up to 1,800 or 2,000 a month for apartments. Matter of fact, some are being now developed. Believe it or not, they're 5 stories high. We used to do 2-story here, maybe 3 in apartments, but now they're having to go 5 because of the land cost.
Right, exactly.
And they have to stop at 5 because if you go one more unit, now you're into structurally different, like skyscrapers. You have to build them differently.
Is that the code here in town? Is anything over
Yes.
5 stories is a different kind of construction?
Yeah, it becomes structural steel. It's like you're building a skyscraper. You
Right.
don't have to do that same thing.
Otherwise, it's stick-built mostly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think people they're not used to who wants a 5-story apartment. On the other hand, the high rises, which have become popular and kind of a fancy way to live, they've led people to think it's okay to be in a tall building.
Mm-hmm.
So all that's tied together. In the industrial arena is doing really very well. Amazon built a 1 million square foot building. It's awesome. They hired 1,000 people. God bless them. And that's really been beneficial.
And where is that?
That's in the northern part of town.
Right.
But then we have the retail space has been really intriguing. Obviously, location is very significant. They've even taken some parcels where there would be a shopping center, and they found it to be more equitable for themselves, get a higher rent by putting 4 or 5 buildings with a fast food, smaller buildings, as opposed to the anchored center. Mm-hmm. The anchored centers are great attention for investors from all over the country, and right now it's hard to find anything above a 6 or 6.3 cap rate.
Mm-hmm. Explain cap rate for the audience who doesn't really understand that.
You know, it's a fancy term. Aren't you really impressed? What it really is, it's just the return. You take your income and expenses, just the return on the property before there's any financing on it.
Right.
And 7% used to be the average, I would say, in commercial, but now we're closer to 6. And if you wanted to buy a Walgreens store or something on that order, you'd get a 4% return.
Right, but they're 20-year tenants at least.
But the problem is people with a ton of money, they would like a 7 or 7.5% return. And by the way, house flippers, that's become a tough business.
Tough.
Because they've gone through the market, the foreclosures are pretty much gone, housing prices have gone up. An 1,800 to 2,000 square foot home costs $400,000 now. That's just what it costs. I don't care what they say about median price and all that. Mm-hmm. If you want a 2,000, 2,200 square foot home, you have to spend $400,000.
Is that a new home or is that existing
new homes?
Right.
And of course, existing homes are similar. Oddly enough, there's a lot of pressure on it because you probably know better than I do, but nothing's on the market over 30 days.
Yeah, it's a very tough market. 6 weeks is usually what it is, and we try to get in equal buyer-seller market at least 5 months, so you can tell it's really a seller's market right now.
And the tricky part, of course, is everyone's trying to sell office buildings to get the cap rate up, but if you're in a tough location, you can't get enough rent to raise the value. So it's become really a tricky business, so to speak. I don't want to discourage investors, they're still there, but just the hopes of somewhere around 6% return is where we have to be.
What is your a way to get in touch with you? I know there's a lot of people who are watching the show, a lot of local people here in the Valley thinking, hey, you know what? This guy knows what he's talking about. Well, how does somebody get in touch with you if they wanted to?
It's really easy. You can remember this number, 702, of course, 892-7777. And if you dial a little off, you're going to get a hotel. What can I tell you?
That's pretty funny. Hey, listen, a couple other questions in terms of what's going on currently in the marketplace. Best opportunity?
We still are in good shape, in my opinion, for people doing smaller buildings with SBA loans. Mm-hmm. Those are still available. And if you're not in the hottest area in town, but you're in that nature of business, I think there's still good opportunity there.
And financing opportunities?
At least they're back. We went 4 or 5 years, no such thing as a commercial loan.
Right.
Right now we're looking at, it's eased up a little bit. For a number of years, if there were any available, they were 45% down, which we were doing a cash business for 5 or 6 years. But now it's my opinion that 25% down, somewhere around a 7% interest rate is can be done. And I'm seeing on a good large investment properties, as low as 4%, the life insurance companies are back in play.
Right. Ron, thank you very much for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Really appreciate it. I'm Jeff Barton, and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show, and we'll be right back.
Want to know how to create more business and save money? Simple. The answer is video. Video shares are the fastest growing form of word-of-mouth advertising, and according to InternetRetailer.com, visitors who viewed a business video were 85% more likely to buy after watching it. People today are on the go. They don't have time to read text, but they have 1 minute to watch video. At HD Video King, we not only create quality video that's right for you, we coach you on how to get the most from it. Call today. Our award-winning staff are ready to assist.
Successful Strategies International offers state-of-the-art PMP certification and an entire curriculum of project management, risk management, portfolio and program management by using unique learning techniques such as online learning, simulations, and facilitator lead programs. Our clientele consists of some of the biggest Fortune 500 companies in existence. SSI has trainers all across North America, Europe, and Asia to help meet your project management needs. Learn more at ssi-learn.com. That's ssi-learn.com.
Ruthless Cowboys, keeping the American dream alive and creating jobs one t-shirt at a time. From fabric to design, Ruthless Cowboys makes 100% American-made apparel that hardworking Americans are proud to wear. At RuthlessCowboys.com, you can shop for shirts and accessories for the cowboy or cowgirl in your life. Head to RuthlessCowboys.com, check us out on Facebook and Instagram by searching Ruthless Cowboys. Ruthless Cowboys, we're all about family, country, and keeping it all American. RuthlessCowboys.com.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, and I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show. Thank you for tuning in again, hanging with us here as we go through a lot of the great information that we've received on the show today. Ron Mendocino came on. He talked a lot about commercial real estate here in Las Vegas, all kinds of commercial real estate, your investment, whether it's you want to be in warehouses or you want to be in multifamily or retail space. Very interesting guy, and if you have commercial interests or questions, please give Ron a call. Very knowledgeable guy, been out here for 35 years doing it. We also talked a little bit about technology and some of the health care industry and focus on what is happening in your life in terms of trying to make some money in the real estate world, trying to make some money in investment, whether it's buying and selling real estate, whether it's just trying to figure out where the market is headed. Because believe it or not, the valley is not yet 100% back from where it was in 2008, 2009 during the crash. I read that recently and I was a little shocked, but at the same time, I can kind of understand it. Anyway, I want to introduce our panel to you once again today, and I want to thank them both for coming on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff, for having us.
Exactly. Rebecca Fitzgerald. Rebecca is one of our real estate experts and Bitcoin financial advisor. No, anyway, she knows more about it than I ever will, so thanks for coming on the show. And Big Tech's real estate and investment consulting, or as he's just told me, it is WealthWave.
WealthWave.
New company coming out very soon, and I really appreciate you coming on the show once
Absolutely.
again.
Thank you.
Okay. Couple house cleaning methods, issues. Oh, my big article talking about Bitcoin. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I read an article about, as you were talking about a little bit off air, where Bitcoin mining is going. What is Bitcoin mining? What are the needs of it? How do you get in investment-wise? Explain to us a little bit about what's going on with Bitcoin.
Well, the whole idea of the mining is like exactly like you would mine gold, and they get all kinds of servers and like all kinds of things in this technology, and they put it all together and they figure it out. And basically, the computer goes through like these different codes up and down, until eventually it cracks the code, and you're rewarded with a Bitcoin. So, and you can be rewarded with a piece of a Bitcoin
And these
as well.
are called branch chain, correct?
Blockchain.
Blockchain, not
Right.
branch chain. Branch chain would be DNA. This is blockchain. That's Bitcoin. Okay, got the difference. Go ahead.
Right. So people spend like thousands upon thousands of dollars setting up these systems. And the article was talking about in Iceland, people are going and mining them there because electricity is cheaper and because these systems also overheat. So you actually have to figure out a way to cool them down. And a country like Iceland is like cold. So, and they have the resources there because they have like a good infrastructure in the country.
So the electricity that's required in, I guess, recruiting many computers or having banks of computers to go and find unique identifier codes in the internet, in different computers, then you take that and that is
We're
called...
gonna like lose the audience.
No, absolutely, because I'm trying to follow along with what is actually a Bitcoin. And once
The whole
form of
idea,
currency.
I guess it's a form of currency is what it's supposed to be. But there's really no like a huge value for humans for using it. But the guys that are like big on this, they stress that the whole concept is actually better for like robots, like things that are going to happen that don't involve humans. So it's like an exchange on that platform. That's basically the real value of it. So it's like an automated system that can exchange currency without human interaction.
Well, they're using Bitcoin to buy real estate, which is why I'm bringing it up, right?
Mm-hmm.
If this has become as legitimate as we're talking about here, now buying real estate, buying hard assets with Bitcoin, marketplace, where is it? Where do they go? Where do you go with your Bitcoin investments?
Well, I use Robinhood
Okay.
and also Coinbase too as well.
Right.
I have a little bit of Ethereum, Litecoin, of course, Bitcoin too as well. When it comes to purchasing Bitcoin, like I tell people, $100, but what I look at is more the penny side of it. I look at the large cap, mid cap, and small cap, and that's how you want to diversify it if you're going to do this. Because it'll balance out a little bit. Large cap, you want it to be at a certain amount. Mid cap, of course, you want to have, and what I mean by that, the market cap of that Bitcoin being worth whatever it is.
So Bitcoin itself, what's the major player? There's Bitcoin. What are some of the other ones that are sold?
There's Ethereum.
Ethereum.
Litecoin.
So large cap would be something that's worth, let's
Bitcoin.
say, $10,000 a Bitcoin.
Well, large cap will be something that's meaning the capitalization of that company. Say your company is worth $2 billion.
Okay.
Mid cap will be something around that $500 million to $1 billion, and then small cap around $250 million. Anything less than that, they don't have. The reason for that is because the bigger players are actually playing in that arena, such as Microsoft is real big on Litecoin. So the big thing to look at is not just the coin itself, but who is also backing it, or who's about to use it, or who's using it, who wants to use it. Visa is big in Litecoin. Microsoft is big in Litecoin. The big next thing right now is waiting to see if Amazon is going to take wave. And if they do, then that's when that value is going to shoot back up. For those that are in right now, that's at the 8,000, they go right back up.
Okay, very good. So buying and selling of real estate or hard assets with this kind of currency, do you have to convert it, or do you just accept the Bitcoins as they are, as the value they are, because it's so volatile? How do you do that?
Yeah, that's one thing that I've always like stressed. It's like, how is it as a merchant is going to ever accept this when it goes up and down?
Right.
Like if I'm a local business and I accept 2 Bitcoins on Friday and then it comes around Monday and it's worth half the price, like why am I accepting it? And it wouldn't, and in a real estate transaction as well, that would be really strange because most of the time in an escrow you wait 30 days.
Right.
So what if the value of this Bitcoin, by the time you enter your end of escrow, somebody might end up getting screwed. So
No
it's
question.
like, it's like where, like that to me would just be like a
And there's
risky
no
at this
government backing this. This is all based on, I guess, an agreement that we think that this has value. It's not like backed by the full faith of the U.S. government, like the dollar.
Right, correct. And what she just said in regards to the escrow portion of it, what happens, you're trying to convert that to U.S. dollar, but what happens if it takes that dip? Then what? So in that situation, I guess, the person is going to have some type of assets, money-wise, dollar-wise, to say, hey, I can cover X, Y, Z if it does take that dip.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the tough stipulation.
It's just, it blows my mind, just because when I started reading about it in the real estate world, I thought the same thing, and I'm like, okay, let's talk about this on the show. All right, let's get to something else. In October, there were 14,000 houses here in the valley that were vacant, and there's a map here of all the different locales where there are 400, 500, 600, 700 houses that are vacant. And it talked about squatters, and it talked about squatters moving in under fake leases. So the question being is, what is a fake lease? And how do squatters work the system to be able to occupy these vacant houses, which are used a lot of time for drugs, for a lot of shooting galleries, for things that really bring a neighborhood down. A couple of the articles I read had personal anecdotes as to what exactly is happening in the marketplace and why it's happening. But what is a fake lease? Tell me, what is that?
I mean, it's not really like impossible to get access to like real estate papers and like make a lease and say that you're living there, and like it's not hard to even find the homeowner like on the internet. It's like free information. So if you were to like write up the lease and then you were to show it to the cop or whoever, they don't know. They don't know if you're just trying to get rid of them or if they're actually a squatter. I mean, I'm sure they have, but the cops probably or whoever probably knows, but there's like, you have to follow a certain like guidelines to evict somebody, even if they got into your house illegally, because you have, I think, something like 3 days or a very low amount of time that someone's been in your house. Like you could even allow someone to stay at your house for a few days and then they can actually have squatter rights as well.
I see.
Yep.
So the squatter rights here say that if you occupy a space for X amount of time,
Yeah.
you have a right to live there unless you get evicted, and it takes how long to get someone evicted?
Oh man, it can take 60 to 90 days, up to 6 months actually. There was one instance in Summerlin where it took 6 months for the people to get out of there. So now you've been in there 6 months because you got the court process, you got the papers, you got this, you have that. So it can take up to, again, 180 days plus to get out of there.
And this is one of the easier places to get people out if they don't pay the rent. I mean, Las Vegas itself is, known as more of a, more seller friendly, or more lessor friendly.
So what they actually bank on is people not knowing the process.
Right.
So
I
a lot of
see.
people, a lot of like owners, especially if there's not a rental property and they're not renting out their property, they
Right.
don't even know who to call. They don't even know the process of getting rid of somebody, which can be very taxing because if you fill out the paperwork wrong or you do anything wrong, they really will like use it against you and try to stay on your property as long as they can.
Okay, so now that was in October. I don't know the numbers today, but I imagine that the numbers are still pretty high. 14,000 seems a lot, maybe even if it's 11, 12,000, especially since we have so few homes on the market right now, and what we need is more housing, not less. How do we actually deal with the fact that we have fake leases out there, keeping homeless or squatters in a property, and how do we deal with this?
I would suggest like the owners themselves be more proactive in checking their proproperties and seeing if someone's in their property or having somebody look over it. Even
if you do a drive-by, not so much even a property management company, but even if you do a drive-by, just like you said, being proactive in your community, but in that home that you do have that's vacant, and that'll solve a lot of the problems.
Or even just ask the neighbor of the house, hey,
Right.
can you take a look at it, make sure there's no one there because it's going to benefit them as well.
I think a lot of people who see this information, understanding that, this is happening in my neighborhood. I don't know who owns that property. It was foreclosed upon, but what do I do? And I think what you're saying is, find out and try to contact the seller. I think or the person that owns the home.
Right.
Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
coming on the show. Once again, great
Absolutely.
job. And I'm Jeff Barton. I'm your host for the Las Vegas Real Estate Show, and we'll see you next time.